Hello everyone, welcome to a new van update. We've got a lot to fill you in on because Chris has really been cracking away. So let's start straight away with filling you in on what we've been up to.
So after all the bed was finished, we then started building out these seats. So the first thing was to cut a piece of thick 18mm ply and put that in under the bed. So with that we then screwed that to the floor and bolted it to the walls to make it as solid and as strong as possible. So that should keep everything in the back separated from the front, and it's also given us a base to screw all of the seats and everything else to from the front, so that's all into the metal work, so it should all be really sturdy.
So once that was in place, we've had the floor laid out for a while, but we needed to get it down permanently. Everything came out, all the tools, everything out the van. It was really strange to see it empty for the first time in a while, and it took us a while because the van is parked on a bit of a slope, and as we're walking around it just kept slipping down, so we're constantly pulling it back up. And we wanted to keep track of where the joists are underneath on the floor, so we started trying to mark it all out with masking tape. We even bought some brand new masking tape, but it just wasn't working. There's a little bit of a texture to our vinyl flooring, and yeah, it just wasn't working. We gave up fairly soon. We just thought there is no point in persevering with this. So in the end I just got a Sharpie pen and made little dots at the edges, and when it comes to it we'll just have to get straight edges and measure it a bit from those dots, and so far that's been okay, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And so we just stuck it down with double-sided sticky tape. Was it any particular special tape?
Just double-sided carpet.
Just carpet tape.
Yeah.
So we just laid that around the edges and stuck it down. And we've been using it quite a lot since then, and it doesn't seem to have shifted, does it?
No,
so
it seems fine. That's
definitely, well, not definitely, but so far that seems to have done a good job. So yeah, again, it was strange seeing all the floor all nice and open, but then we all started getting all the tools and everything back in to carry on. As we mentioned in the last video, we'd ordered the mattresses and they arrived. We've got a clip of us trying them out for the first time. They're a bit deeper than we expected them to be, so they do cover a bit more of the window than we'd sort of hoped. Also, we hadn't realised how high they would be stacked on top of each other, because that's how they will be when we are sitting on the bench as we are now. So it's a bit of a disappointment actually, because also of course it's blocking out a lot of the light that we get from the back window. However, they are comfortable mattresses and we're going to get a good night's sleep, and perhaps a good night's sleep is more important when we're out and about. Yeah, no one wants to be tired on their travels, so you know, swings and roundabouts as they say, and they fit. They fit
really well.
They fit really well.
Yeah, after that I started framing out all of the bench and the kitchen area. It seems to have come together well enough in the end. So yeah, so that's all framed out in quite thick chunky timber. So I went with just normal stud work, which is extremely cheap, but they are at least always straight, and because we were going to use a lot of it, it seemed quite a good way of doing it. It's also very light because although it's thick and chunky wood, it's not very dense. It seemed the right for what we wanted to do. So we've covered the tops of all the seats with 18mm ply. Probably could have got away with 12, but as we are going to be standing on it to get into the back, and we still had 18mm left over from other places where we'd used it, seemed a good idea to carry on using it there. It's not that much heavier than the 12 anyway.
So we went to a fairly nearby sawmill. Is it a sawmill? Timber yard to see if we could find our work surfaces. We actually went there ages ago, didn't we? Right when we first got the van, to see if they had the sort of thing we were after. And we actually went on Chris's birthday. That's what he chose to do on his birthday. So we went to the timber yard. Yeah, we luckily found a really good couple of nice bits, didn't we? As you can see here, right in front of me, this is our new table. Do we have to change the length of this?
No, it's exactly the size.
It was exactly the right length and width, yeah. So we obviously went with measurements and we found this bit and it was pretty near perfect. So we've got that one, and we got 2 other planks. It took us quite a long time to get ones that would fit together without having to do too much cutting about.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, we needed to fit it in the car, so we couldn't get an extra long bit and cut it in half. And in the end, yeah, we did it, and I think we're really pleased. So we had to get 2 pieces. Unfortunately, it did mean having to cut off a nice veiny edge, but never mind, that's just a sacrifice we had to do. The timber wasn't actually marked as to what it is, but we're pretty sure it's oak. I think it's oak, so I think we've got a real bargain there, because this was £8. One of these was £8 and the other one was 18. I don't know why there was such a difference in price between the 8 and the 18,
Yeah.
but that's how much it costs, and I think we did pretty well with that. So then you did a hell of a lot of sanding and glued them together.
Yeah, to join them together after we managed to cut a straight edge down each of them, I just used dowel pins. Not very many of them lined up in the end, but enough lined up for it to work out. And then wood glue, clamped that up and left it overnight, and it seems very strong. So after that we sanded it all down. It's all now reasonably flat and even-ish. This has still got quite a bow to it,
Yeah,
but that's just the shape
bowed.
that the wood was. I couldn't really sand that flatter. It is at least smooth. It's not flat.
I think you've done a really good job with the sanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the work surface itself isn't screwed down yet because we haven't quite finished with it. It needs to come back out and have some more work done. But we're getting close.
And you managed to get it to fit around this,
Yes,
this sort of
it's all
bumpy bit in there.
cut to fit round everything. Yeah. So widen the 240-volt plug sockets because we've now got the inverter. I'll do a separate tour of all the electrics later on. There's no point in doing a little bit at a time as it's been arriving. We'll do it all in one go. Yeah, after that I started on the drawers. You knew roughly where the drawers were going and what we wanted. So I bought some cheap drawer slides for most of the normal drawers and some heavy duty drawer slides for the toilet.
Because it's got to take my weight. Yeah, we haven't mentioned, we've been sorting out where the porta potty is going to go. Yeah, it's a small van. There obviously isn't space for a sit down private space. I mean, I know some people manage to get whole clever cupboards that open up and become a shower and a toilet, but we just haven't got the room for that sort of thing. So as we've always done before, we've just got a little porta potty. And it's okay because we travel around in this. It's not like we're parked up in one place for a long time. So just like on a road trip in a car, if I need the loo, most of the time we just go in a garage or in a McDonald's or something like that.
It is only for
so
emergencies.
it's for emergencies, and also there's the great outdoors quite a lot of the time. But it is useful to have a porta potty for those times when there are more people about than you're comfortable with. Oh dear, talking about all the interesting things. So yes, but in our old van we never got round to building a proper place for it. So we just sort of covered it up with rugs most of the time. But so this time it was important that we did provide a proper place for it. So we did an L-shaped seating area here, and the porta potty is underneath the little bit that pokes out. So yeah, you did some clever slides to sit on down there. And also it works out nicely because now it means we've got a sort of a bench seat where you can sit right by the door, which is just quite nice to look out the door. I think this whole sort of layout that we've ended up with has worked out all right. Quite pleased with your drawer system, so we're not just dragging it out and
yeah. After that I tried doing the fridge drawer. That didn't go so well.
Didn't go quite according to plan.
No, in the first time it just didn't seem to work at all properly, which we did decide might be that the sliders were just not quite up to the job because they were very cheap. So we got some more expensive ones. It then needed rebuilding anyway because they were different sizes. The new one works great, and I think it benefiting from those heavy duty sliders. So then we put the drawer underneath this seat here. That's again on the slide because we've had enough campers now to know that having a lift up bench seat with all your stuff in it is an absolute nightmare.
Yes.
And really annoying to use. In fact, you end up not using it because you can't be bothered to sit there trying to rest it on your shoulder and dig around. It's just silly. So
yeah,
it was well worth doing the drawer.
That was sort of a requirement. I thought there's just no point, we know that we just don't use those cupboards. I don't know why all these properly designed camper vans are all designed where you have to throw off all the cushions on the seats before you can even lift up to get to your stuff underneath. It's ridiculous. So yeah, drawers are definitely the way to go. We've got one corner where you're sitting,
yes,
has to be lifted up.
Yeah, because we've got two, we've got a drawer for here and a drawer for here. So yeah, there's a small gap in the corner. But I think again, it's not space we're going to use often. That will be more long-term stories that we don't really need to go into.
Yeah, there's bound to be things like emergency welly boots or things that like we're not sure what the weather's doing.
So we've put a couple of little catches on the drawer to stop it from sliding out. I'm not sure they're actually going to be big enough or strong enough, but they were pretty little catches that we had anyway. So we put them on, we'll give it a go and we'll see.
We'll see.
If it doesn't hold, then we'll get something more substantial. So I've covered the front of all of these and the sides with pallet wood. It was very cheap, and I got it locally rather than breaking up all the pallets and pulling out all the nails myself.
So annoyed. We bought him a proper pallet taken apart thing. What are they called? Does it have a name?
Tool, I suppose.
A pallet tool.
Yeah.
So it was a bit. He didn't tell me that he was going off to buy pallet wood anyway.
But it was very cheap and it looks really nice. So
I have to admit, it looks really nice. I'm really pleased with that.
So then I had one final drawer to build. That's the top drawer. That'll be pots and pans and things. That's a drawer.
There's not much to say about it.
No, by that time, by my fourth one, I was getting a lot better at it. So it was a bit better. Still wasn't perfect, but it was better than the others. And it certainly fits better than the others. So this is the is it Lagoon?
Yeah, Laguna or Lagoon?
Lagoon. So yes, this is the Lagoon table leg. Now we've got two mounts for it, and there's one down here, and we plan on fitting one over there by the driver's seat as well, so that we can move this table to be next to us if we happen to be sitting in the front, or we can have it here. It turns in lots of different ways.
I love this, it's so cool.
It gives us all sorts of options.
How much were those?
What, the table leg?
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. The table leg itself was about there's normally about £170, but we got it for 130, I think.
Okay.
On the special offer, and an extra bracket for mounting it was another 30, I think.
So a bit pricey, but I think it's worth it, because this is going to be so useful, because you can raise and lift the height. So I mean, at the moment it's the right height, but when we've got cushions on here, we'll need it higher. We can use it as an extra work surface while I'm cooking. We didn't want a huge table because it is just the two of us, and if we've got the kids with us, then we'll probably have like a picnic table and an awning or something like that. At the end of the day, we don't want to be trying to work around a table that we don't need to be as big as it is. So this is perfect for the two of us, I think.
I think so, yeah. So it could have even been smaller, and I think it would have been okay.
And you really made the edges nice and smooth. I like that. And yeah, as Chris mentioned, we'll have to show you this in a future video because we need to cut out some of the work surface, but as you mentioned, there's going to be a bit in the front so that when we're sitting, probably having fish and chips on a cliff top overlooking the sea in Cornwall, if we've pulled in forwards, then we want to see the view. So we thought it'd be really useful to be able to just swing around the table and have somewhere to put the food. There's going to be a hurried flurry now of work because we are going to try and get an MOT on the van this coming week. A week today we are hoping to do our first trip of the van. It's not going to be finished, but I think it's actually going to be a good idea to do it at this point, so that if there's anything we need to tweak, it'll be good to have had that experience in it first. Okay, as always, if you're new here, welcome. Please hit subscribe and the bell notification so you get told when I upload new videos. Hopefully there's others on this channel as well that you'll enjoy. If not, just skip those and come back to the van videos when they come up. I do have a playlist on the go, so you can catch up easily. I'll put that in one of these corners here. And thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye.